Back in live here at the beautiful Robert Trent Jones at Silver Lakes Golf Course. It is Golf with the Gamecocks Day, as Jacksonville State Athletic Department having their annual golf tournament, and we're talking right now with the athletic director of the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, Greg Seitz, and always great to talk with you. Appreciate you coming out here with us.
Oh, Chase, thanks so much. Appreciate you being out here today broadcasting live from Silver Lakes. What a beautiful day.
I'm telling you, beautiful day, beautiful course. Now, how long have y'all been doing this?
So this is our 21st year to host our Golf with the Gamecocks tournament, and it just continues to grow each year. This was the first year that we split the tee time, so we had 27 teams go off this morning at 8 o'clock, and we got 25 teams this afternoon at 2 o'clock. So I think the folks that had the 8 o'clock tee time came out a little better on the weather.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot going on with Jacksonville State Athletics. When you look back to this 2021-2022 year, first year in the ASUN, some new athletes on the field, just kind of what's your overall assessment as you look back to this past year?
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic year for us. When you think of everything that we accomplished from our men's basketball team, going back to the NCAA tournament, which was, it's so exciting to be part of March Madness, and I've been fortunate to work a lot of those NCAA basketball tournaments, but just the opportunity for our kids and fans and coaches to get to experience that. And then obviously, probably the surprise of the year was late October, early November when we got the call to join Conference USA and make the transition up to FBS. So that, this is always going to be a year that I'll never forget. And my June the 1st was my 30th anniversary here at Jacksonville State. But this year, I think, has been one of the most exciting just because of what we feel like is in store for the future. So, we're certainly excited with the ASUN, and we helped form the ASUN Football League, but just making that transition to FBS football for the fall of 23 and then jumping into Conference USA, we are very excited about that, Chase.
Absolutely. And I know with this transition, I know there is one more year before you make the jump and jump into Conference USA. As far as, though, kind of the preparation to make that jump up, whether it be financially or whatever, how's that preparation going for making the jump?
Well, the first preparation was hiring Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And so, we've been able to do that, and just the quality of his assistant coaches that he's already added to our staff. And so we've already internally, began a lot of that. We've added some support help that we haven't had or that FCS teams, don't fund or have. And so we've already begun that process. We've at FCS, you have 63 scholarships, and then we want to transition over the 2 years when we're eligible in fall of 24 to 85. So this fall, we're at 75 scholarships. So, that was a big boost to, for depth and stuff. Usually what you hear when FCS and FBS are playing is, a lot of those one-on-ones are really good. Where you really get caught up is in that second line. Well, we feel like now by adding those 12 scholarships will help us this year. And then next February signing day, we'll add the additional 10. We'll be at our full 85 scholarships by the time we're competing in Conference USA the fall of 23. So that timeline, that's year 2 of the transition. So we're not eligible for the Conference USA Championship. So that will give us 2 full years of 85 scholarships by the time we're eligible in fall of 24. And our expectations at Jacksonville State, we always want to compete for a championship. So we feel like that's going to help us be ready by playing 2 years at 85 scholarships to be ready to come in, not just play. We want to compete for a championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Seitz, the athletic director at Jacksonville State, joining us here at Silver Lakes this afternoon. And I know the new facilities in the works there. What's the progress on that right now?
Yeah, so it's going slower than our coaches and everyone wants, but obviously in the times that we're in and stuff, it just takes time to design and with the supply chain and those things, we had hoped to already, been able to get the demo and stuff done. But it's just we've got to follow the process and get through the hurdles. But it's going to be, like I've told folks, if you've been up for our baseball stadium, that process took longer than what we had originally anticipated. it's a fantastic facility. And so what I try to stress to all of our folks is it's going slower than we had hoped, but just keep in mind and let's look long range. And, in 2 years from now, when that facility is completed, what an unbelievable facility it's going to be. And we want to make sure we get it right? We've got one chance as we're going through it and walking through, and I'll talk specifically the football operations side, to make sure that we get everything that our student athletes want. So we've been able, we meet with them and get their input. Obviously, our coaching staff, our operations staff, our equipment staff, our training staff, and let's be sure we vet that and get everything we want. The last thing we want to do is rush through the project and then see that, oh gosh, we missed this. I wish we had done that. So we are we're proceeding on. We've vacated the football field house now. We've basically gutted it, and you'll see that building come down sometime this fall. And then we've already removed the north side bleachers and stuff in anticipation that stuff will be demoed, sometime in the next several months. So it's moving on, just not as fast as any of us like.
What all will be a part of these new facilities that fans will see in the next few years?
Yeah, so if you've been on our campus, you're familiar with our current football field house. So that building will completely be gone. That whole north side, which is, in lack of a better term, the old press box side, and all that will come down. And we are doing, it's really 3 projects rolled into one. So the football operations building will be one of them, which will house a new dressing room, new training room, a player's lounge, equipment, coaches' offices, everything that runs the day-to-day operations of football. Then on top of that floor, we're going to have a new dining hall, which is going to triple the size. So we can feed about 900 people in that new facility at one time, where we currently are at 300. So we're tripling that size of it. And then above it, we're adding 300 and roughly 370 new dorm beds, which obviously if you're coming to Jacksonville State right now, we've had record freshman enrollment, record enrollment for the last year. So we have a huge housing demand. So we feel like that's really going to just be a true asset to all of our incoming students and for our current students to get new housing for them. So that's kind of, honestly, Chase, kind of been part of it. If we were just doing the football thing, we would be finished with that. But by rolling all 3, it's such a complex building and facility. It's just taking us time to work through all of the logistics of all 3 parts of that.
Absolutely. Greg Seitz joining us this afternoon here on the back patio at Silver Lakes. He is the athletic director at Jacksonville State University. And we sit here in the world of college sports is just changing constantly around us. And as an athletic director for a school that's going to be heading into the FBS and into the Conference USA in the next couple of years, how do you handle that as an athletic director with NIL, with the transfer portal, all these different things going on? How are you having to kind of change what you do? Are you having to change what you do in order to kind of help manage this and help educate people on this?
Yeah, and I think that's a great question. What I'll tell you, Chase, and as we were discussing this as a university senior leadership and board of trustees, is I want to be on the FBS side when the whole transformation committee, when everything shakes out. I think we want to be on the FBS side of all this because, with at the FCS level and with the Division II and Division III, I could see a major restructure of that. But I think if you're in FBS and you're in a conference like Conference USA, I think that just there's there's roughly 127 FBS schools. They're going to continue to play each other. And so just from the revenue that you're able to generate at the FBS level and stuff, that's the side of the ledger that we want to be on. We're certainly excited to be able to do that by joining Conference USA. And all the things that you had mentioned, with NIL and the transfer portal, we are certainly very supportive of our student athletes, and we want them to have the opportunity to be able to make money on that. I think that you've seen or read articles and stuff that, especially the Power 5 schools, I'm not sure that's what's really happening because you're not really you're not supposed to use that as an inducement and in order as a free agent or signing bonus for kids. But if the stories are true that you hear and what you look out there and read, that's not being done at the Power 5 level. And I feel like that there's the NCAA. We've received a memo within the last week that says our enforcement staff is going to crack down on if you are using NIL for pay for play. That's not the intentions of it. And so it's going to be interesting to see how all that shakes out. I think part of the problem, Chase, is we've allowed this to go on for a year now. And so how do you for lack of a better analogy, how do you put the genie back in the bottle there?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see, and I think it's going to take. I think we're all familiar with Coach Saban's comments that he made about 2 weeks ago, and with one of his peer schools in there. And now certainly at our level, it's not like that. We're not dealing with that type of money and stuff, but it is real. And so, it's just going to be interesting to see how all of it shakes out. But I do want to be on the FBS side of it when it all does shake out.
Right, and a lot happened. A lot of conference shifting and all that has happened. JSU's been on a very good side of that, having the opportunity to move up into Conference USA. When you look at kind of the success that football has had traditionally here at JSU, that basketball had this year, women's basketball had this year, moving up into Conference USA when the level of play is going to go up a little bit. I mean, it has to be kind of a breath of fresh air to know your teams can compete with these kind of teams, because you see Jacksonville State, playing Auburn in the NCAA tournament, getting that kind of level of play already before they even move up kind of into Conference USA, when that competition's level going to go up a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly is, and what we hope that translates into, Chase, is the type of athlete that we recruit now.
Yeah.
And we've already seen that, just to be honest, with football, with Coach Rich Rod on board, but even the success our men and women's basketball team both had this year with our women competing in the WNIT, that just raises your profile of the university. And I think what it's also going to do, Chase, is, and I've heard this a lot, and I try to dispel it, but when football was competing at the FCS level, people say, "Oh, okay, well, what division is basketball?" Well, we're still Division I.
Yeah.
We're Division I in all sports, but I think this really just adds the credibility to our entire athletic department. And we're actually playing some teams at Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee are going to become, really good rivals for us. And then Louisiana Tech has a long history, and obviously we've already got a great rivalry with Liberty in the basketball, our men and women, and we were fortunate to come out on top of both of them. And our women, you may have been at the game,
yeah,
when we hit the buzzer beater to send us to the championship game. That was, when you look at their record, they were like 27-5.
Yeah.
What a great win for our women's program, and to our first ever appearance in the WNIT. Coach Petrie has done an outstanding job. We had our Division I record for wins there. So I think the momentum of the success we had, and obviously none of us are ever going to forget our win over Florida State in football.
Yep.
But that success, I think what was so attractive to Conference USA is they told us is our athletic success and also our athletic facilities. We have spent a tremendous amount of money over the last 10 to 12 years to get our facilities FBS ready, and it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. It sure did. We're visiting with Greg Seitz, athletic director at Jacksonville State. And with the move to Conference USA, because you think about the ASUN right now, it's teams more in the southeast part of the country. When you get into Conference USA, there's going to be a little bit more traveling for these teams. How do you kind of prepare for that, whether it be financially getting ready to kind of send these teams out, and kind of a bonus of that is, you're going to get out of the southeast part of the United States.
Yeah, we're certainly going to raise the brand of the university and the entire university. And, and if athletics can help expand that student enrollment for the general student, we're certainly, happy and thrilled to be able to do that. But we're going to now, once we move to Conference USA, we're stretching across 3 time zones. When you look at New Mexico State and the members there, then we've obviously come back to the Texas schools with Sam Houston State, who we've had a great football rivalry with, and it's going to be great to be able to play them in all of our sports. And then you get in the East Coast with Florida International and Liberty. It's such a much more national. I think it will raise our brand where people won't look at us more of a regional school. Now we'll be nationally known, and the success that we have enjoyed, and our expectations aren't changing just because we're moving to FBS and Conference USA. Our expectations, we want to win championships, and we've been very fortunate in the Ohio Valley Conference. We had some success, even though it was brief, in the ASUN. Our expectations are not changing moving into Conference USA.
And I think kind of along those lines is you've already got Georgia Southern scheduled in football for a home-and-home, South Carolina up there. I think that's two really good teams to be able to play in football. And then a lot of people, are asking, well, is Troy going to be back on the schedule? Are you going to get some of these in-state games? Do you think that'll happen with that move?
Yeah, and I'll be happy to. I mean, so football scheduling, and it was so difficult at the FCS level for Jacksonville State because we were a top 5 program, and an FBS team didn't want to pay you $400,000 or $500,000 with a chance to lose. And so I'm going to, and people may not believe this, but it's actually gotten easier now that we're FBS because those schools will play you. And as part of our, as we were talking with the board and the president on making this move, is now we want to play UAB, we want to play Georgia Southern, Southern Miss, South Alabama, and obviously for us, Troy is a big game. When you look over our 120 years of football history, Troy is a major rival and opponent, and those FBS schedules, Chase, are made, most of those schedules are already made through 28 and 30. So we're looking and working on dates to see how we can get that. We're not ready to announce anything at all, but we are certainly working with many of those schools that I've already discussed and talked about. And I think our fans are going to be very excited, about that. I can tell you that we've completed the 23 schedule, which we're very excited about. And then the 24 schedule, only need one game. But just to be able to play South Carolina, I mean, that was so much easier. And the thing now, and you talk about increased expenses, so we got $400,000, Chase, for playing at Florida State last September. Well, we're getting $1.3 million now by playing at South Carolina. So those payouts, which are so important to all of our sports at Jacksonville State, I mean, they are going to basically triple. You'll see those numbers be from between $1 million and $1.5 million now for an FBS game. And, that just goes a long way for us. Now, we are obviously going to have added expenses, but just the revenue that we get now from Conference USA and by being in the FBS level, every FBS team gets $1 million from the CFP. And so that's in addition. Every conference gets $10 million, and so for us we'll have 9. So you get $1 million for those. And so, that's money we've never had in the past. So when people say, yeah, well, you're putting this on the students, that's not true. We're able now to generate more revenue by being an FBS member, without putting it on the backs of the students.
Exciting times ahead for the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Greg Seitz, the athletic director, joining us. Thanks so much for coming out here talking with us. Very excited for the future of Jacksonville State athletics, and we're proud to partner with you guys, carry the football and basketball games here on WKXX. But thanks so much for coming out here and talking with us this afternoon.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, and obviously we've got our season tickets on sale. If you go to JSUGamecocksports.com, you can see our schedule and have the opportunity to purchase those tickets. And looking forward to an exciting season with Rich Rodriguez.
Absolutely. Greg Seitz, he is the athletic director at Jacksonville State. Much more to come this afternoon here from Silver Lakes. We will be back with more in just a moment.